Hey everyone, let's have a quick chat about making money. Oh, it's glary. This is the 36th book in the Discworld series and the second in the Moist One Lipstick books. Now, while I wouldn't recommend to read this without having read the first book, Going Postal, that addresses the character of, or introduces the character of Moist One Lipstick, this would also work if you don't know everything around it. It's more fun if you know the background. So, but what is this about? Making Money finds Moist in a very settled situation at the post office. Everything is going well, and he gets kind of bored a little bit. And then all of a sudden, he turns out to be the owner of the chairman of the bank. Now, let me explain that. The bank was run by a family, and the family is kind of weird. And the last chairman was a very old lady that saw right through Moist One Lipstick, knew he was a con man and thought, I'm going to leave him the bank. But since she couldn't leave it to him directly, she left it to her dog, and the dog became the chairman, and she left the dog to Moist One Lipstick. Now he finds himself having a new job running a bank that he didn't want. Coincidentally, Lord Veterinary was trying to get him to do the job and be the head of the Royal Mint, but Moist said, nah, I don't want to. I'm wary of that. And now he ends up with the job anyways. And that's how the story begins. We find ourselves in the situation that Moist is once again trying to revive a dead colors of the city. This is part of the industrialization of Ankh-Morpork, of getting it into a more modern way, of getting it forward. Lord Veterinary is pushing for this. We can see this. This is what I really like about the book, that we can see more of Lord Veterinary's workings in the background, and we get more and more of an idea of what his plans for the city are with the Moist One Lipstick books, because he's more present and more part of the story than he is in other books. I also really like to see Moist struggle and come up with ideas, how his mind is always a little bit behind his mouth. He starts sprouting ideas and talking big words before he knows how he's going to actually do the things that he says. It's really fun to watch. It's also very interesting from the aspect that he introduces paper money and how the struggles are there, and the ideas around money and commerce and economy are very interestingly portrayed in here. There's also a lot of strange characters. There's a lot of fun going on. We have some weird people working at the bank. As usual, you have all the species that are running around in Ankh-Morpork and the Discworld in general. You're just gonna love it. I also would like to mention, if you are struggling with getting into the Discworld and you're always afraid of the 40 books that you have to read, of the whole background, for this, it's really enough to go into Going Postal. Yes, you might not recognize all the background stories to the staple characters and the fixed institutions of the Discworld and the Ankh-Morpork, the city, but you are getting into the story easily. You don't need all their background for the comprehension of the stories. The Moist One Lipstick books are very modernly written, so they don't feel as old-fashioned as the early Discworld novels might feel, and they are less epic fantasy and more like urban fantasy. That's a little bit stretched, but it's not all about dragons and quests and wandering through scenery. That's a really bad description of epic fantasy. But anyways, you know what I'm getting at. If fantasy is something that usually puts you off, but you've been curious about the Discworld series, give Moist One Lipstick a try. He's a fun character. He has a lot of challenges to deal with, and the humor in these books are great. And that's it from me. Let me know in comments if you have started on the Discworld, what you thought of Moist One Lipstick and his books, what your opinion is of Making Money, or anything you want to talk about. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.